With the spooky Halloween season being just around the corner, this top 10 list is dedicated to our personal picks for the scariest enemies throughout the Zelda series. Trying to narrow this list down to just a handful of selections means there's a chance one of your favorites may not make the cut today. But let us know in the comments what your pick for scariest Zelda enemy is. For this video, I'm joined by my friend John.
Hello.
To help me find the scariest enemies in all of Zelda.
I've played Majora's Mask so many times that I could probably I know a bunch of fucking time savers and shit, but what is that guy? What is that one from? What is his boss
He's in
look
the
like?
Stone Tower Temple.
Because I do not remember a massive shadow spookies. Like, cool looking monster. Why do I have no memory of this? Like at all? Is this in the same place? Is it in the actual Stone Tower Temple, or is it where you fight the skeleton boy, like the King Skeleton Man?
No, it's in the actual Stone Tower Temple.
Yeah, he's got the fucking light arrows.
You fight that Garrow Master. I think this is the guy that he guards the key.
What a cool fucking enemy. Why do I not remember? I don't remember him at all, and this is my favorite temple. Hold on, Dark Link is the final boss for fucking Ganon or whatever?
Yeah, but it's called Link Shadow, is what it's called in Zelda 2. But he's the final boss. Takes you like a weird thing, if I remember correctly. I've never even beaten this game.
Yeah, I've heard he's like legitimately difficult because it's like literally fighting a mirror image.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that Dark Link in Ocarina was like designed the way it was. It was supposed to recapture this right here. But honestly, I don't think he's anywhere near as difficult as this version.
No, and they definitely keep bringing up the whole Dark Link thing, and the Dark Links are in Twilight Princess, but they're not you don't fight them. They just show up.
Right. You don't fight them or anything. When I think of Twilight Princess and creepy, I think of this little cutscene here.
The people that they're depicting here with this view shadow are supposedly the same people behind Majora's Mask too.
See, this part is very God. What am I trying to say here? It's God. What's wrong? I haven't even. It's a good thing I didn't drink anything, because I'd be even dumber. It just comes out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's very jarring, and I remember it being very not different, because the whole game has kind of this it's nothing like Majora's Mask, obviously, but the whole game has this sort of, I don't want to say dark. Obviously it's dark, but that doesn't feel right it's more like cynical and real. The world of Twilight Princess,
which means the monsters are way more real looking.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that was the idea. And I think it was directly because of the Wind Waker's backlash, which is funny because now Wind Waker is probably one of the most beloved titles in the series. But that part of that cutscene just kind of, I remember it throwing me off at the time. Whoa, what the fuck? There was a very sudden tonal change.
Yeah.
Beast Ganon is the first time I was ever intimidated by Ganon, I think. Because even Ganon in Ocarina, the giant pig boy with the two giant daggers, that's intimidating. But Beast Ganon is actually legitimately terrifying. I think I used to have, not that exactly, but something like that. I used to have nightmares about shit like that, chasing me when I was a little boy. I don't know, something. It's very terrifying. Because that game is 90% Ganondorf, and then Ganondorf turns into that, and you whoop him in his ass, and then the final boss is a sword fight, which I think is one of the coolest fucking final fights in any Zelda game, because it's just you and Ganon slapping each other with swords in the middle of fucking Hyrule Field. It's very fun, and it's very it's a lot more engaging of a fight than Zelda had ever been up to that point. I think, and I don't know. It's just he's like a giant pig and a silverback gorilla fucking fused together. And no, I don't care who you are. There's nothing scarier than a pissed off gorilla.
I actually like. I don't have one bad thing to say about this entire boss fight, but I prefer the puppet Zelda part of that boss fight over the Beast Ganon because it was so out of left field. Like, oh, I have to like beat up Princess Zelda.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
The music was well, the music is always intense, like between this and how it changes dramatically between this fight into the Beast Ganon fight. But like she would put like Triforces on the ground and try to like obliterate you with them, and she would like almost come flying at you with that sword just pointed straight at you like a witch. Like she would just like fly around like a witch trying to stab you, and then you did like the dead man's volley with the lightning bolts back and forth with her.
I can't say I remember that part very well. The ghosty, possessed Zelda. I mean, I definitely remember after seeing that image there on the wiki. Master Sword in that game is ridiculous.
Like she knocks Midna out of the arena, and so you can't like I don't think you can target, or you might be able to target, which is like you can't change into wolf form, I guess. But
yeah,
you got those weird like Twilight lines going down her face and on her neck and everything.
and she definitely looks creepy as hell.
They should have made that a skin in Smash Bros. She just floats. It's like fighting Phantom Ganon almost, but it's Zelda.
Or the original Ganondorf fight. Fucking energy ball tennis.
Yeah, yeah, she like puts like these Triforces on the ground.
Woo! Jesus.
Redeads are like a staple enemy.
Yeah.
Which I think for you and me both, our first encounter with Redeads was Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that's the creepiest version of them by far. I think the creepiest version of them is Wind Waker.
Yeah.
But the definitely the creepiest version of them is in Wind Waker for sure. Because it's just
it's the scream. The scream is just so much different in Wind Waker than
there's
it is.
nothing you can do. I mean, you can if you mash the A button, you can get out of it quicker, obviously, but I don't think the game tells you that. And
it's so interesting because like in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, you come across these, or you can come across Gibdos, which are like just mummies. And then if you shoot the Gibdos with a fire arrow, they just turn into Redeads.
It turns them into Redead. But Gibdos are only in Majora's Mask. Are there any Gibdos in Ocarina?
I think there are. There's not a lot of them, but I think there are some.
I feel like if there are Gibdos, they're only in that one area. Like underground somewhere, either at the bottom of the well or maybe in the Shadow Temple.
Well, they're at least in Ocarina of Time Master Quest.
I don't think I ever played Master Quest.
I never made it past the Fire Temple.
I think it's because, it locks up your controls and it's sort of Michael Myers-y. It looks at you, its head tracks where you are. So it's always staring at you, and it just sort of slowly walks up to you and then devours you.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones in Wind Waker are the way worse. They have these gigantic heads, like tribal looking stuff on them, and then they scream bloody murder.
It's a lot scarier than the other Redead noise. That, and like if you stand a certain distance away from them and you like bop them with like far enough to where they won't lock onto you because they try to stay in one area. But if you like bop them with a boomerang, it'll still look at you. Yep. It'll fucking dart its head over towards you and stare at you before it goes back to just sort of standing there. Like, nope, I don't want anything to do with that.
They were also in Twilight Princess too.
Redeads?
Yeah.
What do they look like in Twilight Princess? I do not remember.
They look more like they kind of looked more like Stalfos, but they were definitely Redeads. They're like a mix of the two, but they still screamed and paralyzed you.
Is it carrying a sword?
Yes.
Oh, that was definitely a Redead.
The Wind Waker one's still the most terrifying.
Oh yeah, by far. Their proportions are terrifying, and
I think Twilight Princess actually has like several very creepy bosses. We're looking at one of them right now. This is, in my opinion, one of the most terrifying bosses that Zelda has ever done. This is Morpheal from Twilight Princess, the boss of the Water Temple. I never have, other than this fight in a video game, ever experienced it. What is it called? I had it pulled up. Megalophobia before, which is the fear of just like really big things. The first phase of this fight is like, oh, you're just fighting. It's like fighting Morpha from Ocarina of Time, but it just has actual teeth now and blue blood.
Yeah, keep it from being rated M. Oh, the little bomb fish. I love the world of Twilight Princess. I wish they'd release it on the Switch.
But then its second phase, it comes out of the water, and it is this monstrous, like, well, I don't even know what you call that.
That thing is huge. Yeah, don't you ride on its back and stab it in the eye? Yeah. Right? I was thinking there were two different fights. Because that first phase is, I don't think I've ever spent a whole lot of time in that first phase.
Yeah, you have to swim around, get near its eyeball, hook shot yourself to it, and then stab it.
I definitely remember doing this fight more than any other fight in the game, this part specifically. And I remember thinking the first time I played this game, like, this part made it my favorite Zelda at the time. Because you hook shot to its back and you stat. It's so...
The music like really picks up too, and it's like very like hyping.
Yeah, it does that symphonic swell when you're damaging the boss. I love that about the game.
And then it kills itself by bonking its face on the wall.
Oh God, fucking Puppet Ganon.
Yeah, so Puppet Ganon, John, you brought this one up as being a scary boss.
Well, I remember the first time I was dealing with it, I remember thinking like, wow, this is like actually really scary. As goofy as it is, but I also have kind of a fear of not a fear, but I don't know, ventriloquism, like dummies creep me the fuck out. Marionettes fall under that, and the first phase is like a marionette little dancy puppet boy, isn't it? I think that's the first phase.
You must have really hated knowing me in high school when I had that Howdy Doody ventriloquist puppet.
I do not remember that.
You suppressed your memories then.
Yeah, I was gonna say I must have blacked that one out, to protect myself.
Let's go back and look at how he chuckles. Look at this. This is terrifying.
Exactly. That's why, dude. I swear to God, I remember being like the only fucking person who was like, "Nah, man, this boss fight's weird and creepy, and I hate it." And nobody relating to me on that. Just I remember being totally alone with it. Like,
I thought it was a very interesting boss fight.
The way he walks around, like, oh, I mean, yeah, definitely. A lot of the other phases of this fight are very similar to like some older bosses, like when he turns into the giant spinny worm. It's a callback to the Burger Boy worm guy in Link to the Past.
Look at how he's like,
but with extra steps.
Yeah, with extra steps.
Exactly. Like, look at his head. It's all upside down, dangling. Like, that shit's creepy. And then he just ragdolls to the ground when you finally sever all of them.
And then once you beat him, you use his spinal cord rope to climb all the way to the final boss fight.
Yep. Twilight Princess has some not even super creepy. I mean, a lot of shit in that game is creepy as all hell. Like Zant. I mean, oh my God, oh my God. That's who I was trying to think of earlier when I was like, there's something, I know that something is wrong with my brain, but Zant was what was wrong with my brain. Zant is like, I can't believe I forgot about it. He's my literal favorite Zelda character, like of all time. Dude, honestly, I think Zant should be at the top of the list. He's like mental illness, the enemy.
He has one of my most favorite boss fights, though. Like, it makes you go through like every boss fight you've ever done, but like Zant's the boss now.
And he's like mentally unhinged. The way he's like giggling and laughing and spinning and jumping and like it's like if a courtroom jester was also a master swordsman and possessed forbidden magics, like, and could fucking instantaneously move from like across time and space. Like that's a legitimately terrifying superpower. And not only are you fighting someone who can do that, but you're fighting someone who's, I mean, look at the way his body moves.
It's like he's throwing a constant temper tantrum, but he's also like he drank a 12-pack of Coke before the fight started.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I mean, yeah, if that was a boss, that would he be.
I'm like, you like a spider monkey.
And he has like, I like that little weird chopping animation that he does. Like he's like, just, oh god. Because he'll eventually hit you so many times that you will he'll bust through your shield.
He's the fucking coolest character. Yeah. Bongo is creepy for sure. Not so much the fight as much as, or even really what it's just the design. I mean, his hands are very like wrinkly. Look at his hands, man. And he's like a giant plant demon.
So I think the lore behind this is that guy that like from Kakariko Village that like lived in the house with all the Skulltulas in it or whatever turned into this thing. I think that's what it's supposed to be. But like, how did you go from like being an average person to having monstrous, hyper realistic hands and then whatever that face is? That is a face only a mother could love.
That looks like he looks like a plant monster. Like I don't understand like if it's like a result of the Skulltula curse, like why didn't he turn spidery like all the other people?
I don't know.
Like I thought he would turn into a Skulltula, not a fucking whatever the fuck Bongo Pongo is.
He's a demon.
Like kale gone fucking bad. It's like a giant angry plant. Or what is that flower called? The one that smells like rotting flesh, Aphalasa or something like that. But you know, possessed by. But if the devil urinated on it,
what is he attached to? Like, look how big he is.
I think he just sort of fades off into the darkness up there, like.
And I want to know why his hands are cut off.
His posture is scary because that looks like a spinal cord right there. Like,
this is like a torso,
like,
and there's his head, and then
like he's like a reverse, but like reverse bananaing there. Like, oh god, that makes my back hurt just looking. That thing is like straight creepypasta. It's covered in blood. It's what looks like blood. I mean, it looks like something from a fucking nightmare. Like it doesn't fit in Zelda. You got goddamn little tiny cherubic baby boys made of wood spitting nuts at you, and then that thing. Look at that thing.
It's a big
and
octo.
Then there's that guy who lives in the sewers, and I assume he eats babies. Or he subsists off the nightmares of babies. All I know is whatever it is that he eats is in direct violation of what I think is just and okay and good in the world.
It is definitely terrifying. And it has not only is he like slowly like shoveling over to you, but he's got like these hands that come out of the ground and they grab you. He's like, no, you ain't going nowhere. And then he like
the whole time he's like chattering his teeth at you.
And then when he gets close to he like literally like dislocates his jaw like a snake would before like trying to bite you.
The whole thing is like the rest of that game is just like, yay, Zelda fantasy, get the money and just save the princess. And this one part of the game is like just an infinite screaming, just oh god, oh fuck, oh god, what is this? What's happening? We're entering this room for the first time and seeing this, like, what the fuck is that?
I remember coming down here and I was like, I'm just gonna leave, and I don't think you could leave this room. like, oh yeah, and his head like sticks straight up, so you don't even realize it's his head. Like it looks like another hand, and then he slowly like turns it down to you, like, hello there.
Yokai is hell.
I want to give a shout out to Thunderbird from Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. The fight itself,
Never finished it.
the fight itself isn't too like terrifying, I guess. It's the artwork. And that's kind of like the thing with these older Zelda enemies is that like
Well, that's like 90% of the battle, really, because Zelda is not a scary game. But the design of the enemies is 100% like that fear. I guess the re-deads too, like actually grabbing you and devouring your fucking soul is kind of creepy, you know. But
yeah, but like if you look at this like the
oh my god, that is that the sprite?
Yeah, so like the sprite isn't like too like terrifying. This one right here. I mean, it's terrifying, but it's not terrifying.
I don't know, man. Compared to everything else right there, that's pretty that's like highly detailed. That is creepy as shit.
But when you look at his official artwork, this is what made me think of him being a scary thing. Look at this artwork.
Like, it looks like a giant gargoyle.
Yeah, but this is like this is deemed like one of the harder. I mean, obviously it's a super hard fight because it's the second to last boss fight of the game. But
oh, so it's death then, right? If you were treating this game like Castlevania, you always fight the Grim Reaper right before you fight Dracula.
Yeah, so you fight him and then you like immediately go and fight Dark Link or Shadow Link, whichever one it is in this game. I think Diababa is also like absolutely just terrifying. This is the boss of the Forest Temple. It's the first real boss you see in the game, and obviously the Deku Babas. No, not the monkey's like a mini boss. This is like the first real boss. So you have to fight these two little Deku Babas, or not little, they're big Deku Babas.
Bomb bugs.
And then this colossal Deku thing comes out of the ground, and look what it like. Yeah, okay. Like it's a first dungeon boss, so obviously it's not like too difficult.
It's not very memorable.
I don't really have much else to say about Diababa other than it's absolutely terrifying, and Mr. Monkey here helps you with his big rosy cheeks.
I love the monkeys. I love the monkeys in that game. Okay, so the very, very first time I was ever like spooked by a video game was in Ocarina of Time. And also keep in mind I was also young. But fucking Goma in that game, I think it's just because she's spidery, you know. But just this part, you walk in and you hear, you know, leaf rustling noises, and nothing happens. You just hear this creepy, shuffly, rustly noise, and you walk into the middle of the room, and the camera pans around, and like, what the fuck is that? No, it's this fucking nightmare creature. Like, it's obviously one of the easiest bosses ever because it's the first fucking boss. And then it climbs to the top of the fucking room and it poops out a bunch of eggs, and the eggs have hyper aggressive little tiny versions of that monster you're fighting, and they swarm you, and you well, they don't swarm you, but if you don't, you know, break them before they hatch, you've got extra mobs to fight while you're dealing with this creepy parasitic spider demon who's eating your tree dad.
I think only the first time I ever fought Goma do I remember like actually having to fight the babies, and like in subsequent like times fighting Goma, I don't think I ever had to go farther than like the first phase of that fight where she was like just immediately killed.
Oh yeah, because you can like, especially if you know how to like use the Deku seeds, you can kind of effectively stun lock her and beat her in the first phase.
Wall masters and floor masters, which I mean they're self-explanatory. They literally will just like these creepy
They're
hands.
the same. Yeah, they're the same monster. It's just like the difference between a wall Tula and a skull Tula.
But like to the point though is that like wall masters have been around since like the beginning, and they were literally like these realistic hands that would come after you. Floor masters were only, to my knowledge, in Wind Waker, but they looked obviously because it's Wind Waker. They looked more cartoony, and so like they weren't as like creepy as. Oh God! Do not type in just floor masters without the word Zelda in Google. You're looking to get
the
your
ones
floor
in
done?
Wind Waker. See, yeah, the one from Wind Waker, really cool design. The one that image right next to it is from Ocarina. Terrifying, super creepy. But no, I'm pretty sure the difference between wall masters and floor masters in Ocarina is that one crawls on the ground and one floats up and like tries to snatch you, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So floor masters were in Ocarina of Time, and if you killed them, they busted up into
Into
like
mini
two or three.
versions.
Yeah. Or the wall masters were the ones that their shadow casted on the ground, and then you had to like avoid it, or they drag you back to the beginning of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Odalwa from Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah. He's the reason he's creepy is all again just I guess I've said that about every one of them so far. It's the pomp and circumstance of what he is that's really terrifying. It's the chanting and the music and the setting and the environment. His mask is really creepy. I guess it's also like the whole Mayan motif is also really creepy because they'd literally tear people's hearts out and shit. And the bugs are really creepy too because I know they're not scarabs, but they remind me of scarabs or locust, and scarabs eat flesh, man. Like that.
Yeah, I've seen The Mummy.
Yeah. I always fought him in Deku form though. Just get on the flower and then blast the hell out of him, take the mask off, and stab him 100 times. It's a lot quicker.
Yeah, trying to like, and also it's a lot easier in the 3DS version because he like had a different phase. Like when you got through with it, it would this gigantic eyeball would like bust out of the back of his neck, and you had to shoot the eyeball to actually do damage to him. Let's move on to our number one pick. It's got to be Majora's Mask, right? Like, just
100%, absolutely.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the entire thing. Even without the fierce deity, he's still very like creepy and terrifying. I'm like, fuck this, I'm done with his body, yo.
Yeah, I was like, I always thought you were just gonna fight the Skull Kid with the mask on. It's like, oh no, you were just fighting the mask. And like,
oh yeah, because Skull Kid's he's not an antagonist. He's not the antagonist at all. It's the fucking mask, and I think that's the best part. It's not really a twist. It tells you that from the jump, but it's hard to comprehend it because it's very clearly like just Skull Kid, acting crazy. It's like it's like the symbiote in Spider-Man, or I don't know what you would call that trope. There's another really good example. Well, not exactly. It becomes that, but like Soul Edge or the symbiote from Spider-Man. There's another good one, like a Ring of Power from Lord of the Rings. It just takes all that like mischievousness or darkness that you have and like encourages you to bring it out, and then it gets to a point where you can't control it, and then like you're not yourself anymore. Right, like it's a really fun trope. It's a really fun storytelling device, and I think this is one of the first times I was exposed to that.
Yeah, it was because it really made you like, well, I'd say for the most part, kind of make sure you knew how to use like all of the abilities in the game.
Yeah, it definitely makes you go through all of them.
But like at the same time, I don't remember ever using Deku Link or Goron Link in this fight, but Zora Link was very helpful using the boomerangs.
Yeah, well, because you don't get a traditional boomerang in this game, right?
Yeah, but you get 2 cool ones.
His fins are detachable.
Oh yeah, it's just like a 3-phase.
Zora.
Oh yeah, I forgot he shoots this death laser at you.
Yeah, I don't. A lot of this boss fight I don't remember because I like I said, I've only fought it one time without Fierce Deity.
Yeah, I mean,
But then
the
he
boss
turns
fight is
into
a
a
joke.
creepy little man and he whips the dog shit out of you. And
yeah, the fight was because like if the laser hit Zora Link, it would instantly kill you because it's fire, and Zora Link cannot handle fire whatsoever.
I thought it was ice.
Maybe it's both. Maybe he's just very sensitive. But like he
Well, he is a fish boy.
Yeah. But then he just grows legs and arms.
Yeah, but you could see like it's just like exposed muscle tissue and tendons and shit.
And then he runs at Mach speed. And he makes like these little chicken sounds too. Like and then screams bloody murder when you knock him over.
Is this the one where he like whips the fuck out of you? Or
no, that's the next fight. Majora's Wrath. This is Majora's incarnation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is where he does all these weird like dances and then like
this one's like it's like a child throwing a tantrum.
But then like you hit him enough times and his muscles just gain significant mass. Like he like goes to the gym
and he starts whipping you with tendons. Oh my god.
But if Majora's Wrath like got you just right, it would like he could knock you into a corner and just beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's happened to me. Like I remember not managing my magic very well and losing all my magic and being forced out of deity mode. And then like, oh god, I don't know what the fuck to do. Or I don't know. It doesn't force you out, does it? I don't know why, but no, I remember
force you out of it. You just won't be able to use like the shield anymore.
The saw blade, yeah.
And then he explodes into a beautiful ray of sunshine. And then the world is saved. The moon goes away, so the tides are out, and which means that the whole land of Termina gets flooded, and that's what starts Wind Waker. I'm kidding. That's not actually how that works. Different timeline, but it makes sense.
Plus, is Termina even a real place? Like,
it is in our hearts.
I mean, yeah, okay. I don't want to be, I don't want to bring up the whole like theory. Link is dead. 5 stages of grief. I hate that people like MatPat have made it cringy to talk about fun stuff like that, but that is a very fun theory.
Do you agree with our picks? We went through like 15 of them, and I said we were only going to do 10. But it's like a, whatever. We make the rules. Whatever.
Yes.
If you
don't like that, you can write your local congressman.
You can also leave it down in the comments what your most what the most terrifying Zelda enemy or boss is. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future top whatever lists that John and I make in related to Zelda, because top 10 goofiest Zelda bosses sounds pretty good after going through finding all the scary ones and coming across all the goofy ones in the process.
we can talk about my favorite enemy in all of Zelda.
You want to say it here, or you want to just wait?
No, I'm not going to spoil it.
Well, I guess you're going to have to find the next video, which will probably be in the description or something. And stay tuned for more Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coverage as it comes out, because that's something to be excited for, right?
I think so. But honestly, what people should be the most excited for is the next video we do, because we're going to talk about the top 10 tomatoes in every Zelda game.
As long as number 11's pumpkins.
Yeah, boy.
Anyway, have a safe Halloween, and don't get eaten by dead hands.
Or don't. We're not your mom.